Welcome back, Deep Divers. Today, we're cracking open Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money.
Ooh, good one.
And we're diving deep into Chapter 1.
Right into the heart of it.
Where Housel sets the stage for, how our experiences shape our money decisions.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, why does something that seems totally crazy to me might make perfect sense to you?
Yeah, exactly. By the end of this deep dive,
I love that deep dive.
you'll have a whole new way of looking at not just your own finances, but like why your friend keeps buying those lottery tickets.
Okay, so Housel starts off Chapter 1 with this crazy statistic. Are you ready for this?
Hit me with it.
Our personal experiences with money only make up like 0.000000001%
Oh, that's tiny.
of what's actually happened in the world of finance.
Okay, but it feels like 100%, right?
Right, but here's the thing. That teensy tiny fraction.
That 0.000000001%.
It accounts for like 80%
Precisely.
of how we think about money and how we think the financial world works.
So, like, even if we, read all the books, all the blogs.
Yeah, all the advice.
Our gut reaction to, like, let's say, a market crash is probably more shaped by, maybe our parents losing money in 2008.
Oh, totally.
Than, like, actual analysis.
It's not even just, like, big events like that. Like, think about your childhood. Like, did you grow up with, like, a scarcity mindset?
Maybe.
Or abundance?
I mean, everyone's got a money story, right?
Exactly. And that story, even if it's just a few chapters, like a tiny percentage, it colors how we see the whole financial world. And Housel, he uses this story about JFK now.
President Caddy.
Yeah. Brilliant guy, came from money, but he never experienced the Great Depression firsthand.
Because of his family's wealth.
Right. And that gap, that missing experience, meant that even as president, he couldn't fully grasp what it was like for so many Americans.
That struggled through that.
Yeah, struggling, barely getting by.
So almost like you can't explain the color glue to someone who's never seen it.
Ooh, good one.
You can describe it, but they won't get it,
And that's money talk sometimes. Like, what you see is a no-brainer, like, invest in index funds.
Right.
And the other person's like, are you crazy? That's risky.
Because they're looking through the lens of their own experience.
And that's where things get interesting, right? And that leads to this other point Housel makes about how so much of what we think of as, like, normal finance stuff, retirement planning, college funds,
debt, credit cards.
Yeah, all that. It's actually brand new.
Yeah.
In the whole history of humans and money, this is all...
Like a blink of an eye?
A blip. Like, it wasn't that long ago that retirement wasn't even a thing for most people.
You worked until you...
Until you couldn't.
And then what?
Family took care of you or, well,
Yeah. And now we've got 401k, Roth IRAs.
Yeah. Which, by the way, those didn't exist until, like, the late 70s and 90s. Crazy, right?
So we're all, like, figuring this out as we go.
Which maybe explains why some people's money choices seem so out there.
Like, think about lottery tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Housel points out that statistically, people with lower incomes spend a bigger chunk of their money on lottery tickets.
Which seems rational, right?
If you're struggling, why throw money away?
But remember, it's all about psychology.
So what's the psychology there?
For someone who feels shut out of, the good life.
The American dream, whatever.
Yeah, that lottery ticket, it's hope in a little piece of paper, a chance to finally...
Not so big.
Yeah, even if the odds are, astronomical.
So it's not about logic, it's about...
emotion. Dreams.
I love how Housel brings in that New York Times story about...
Oh, yeah, the Foxconn one.
Yeah, Foxconn, the company that makes, like, all our gadgets. And the article exposed these terrible...
conditions,
And people were outraged.
Rightfully so.
But then, in the comments...
It's always that one comment.
The nephew of a Foxconn worker in China chimed in.
Oh, wow.
And he said that for his aunt working at Foxconn, even with the bad conditions, was
step up
from the life she had before. It just shows how...
perspective is everything.
What we see as exploitation...
could be someone else's best option.
We can't judge without knowing the whole story.
And speaking of different perspectives, you know who Bill Gross is?
Refresh my memory.
Bond king.
Oh, right.
Built his whole empire on this idea of low interest rates, which to the generation before him...
totally foreign.
Didn't even compute. It makes you think, what's normal to us now in the world of money?
Yeah.
That'll seem crazy to our kids.
That is a great question. I mean, so much of what we believe about money comes from our experiences.
Which are just a tiny sliver of what's actually happened.
Right. So how do we make sure that those experiences don't, like, completely hijack our financial future?
Ooh, that's the million-dollar question. And lucky for us, Housel gives us some clues. We'll unpack those.
Let's do it. That's for part 2 of this deep dive. Okay, so we've established that our experiences shape how we see money.
Big time.
But how do we make sure those experiences, like, don't totally run the show?
Like, how do we not let the past dictate every financial decision?
Well, one of the big things Housel talks about is being aware of our own biases.
Oh, okay.
Like recognizing that our experiences, even though they're super valid, might not always lead us to the smartest financial choices.
It's like we've got blinders on, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're moving forward, but you're missing the bigger picture.
So how do we, like, take the blinders off?
One way is to, like, actively seek out different perspectives.
Oh, okay.
Talk to people who come from different backgrounds.
Different money stories.
Yeah. Different goals, different experiences.
Like a financial focus group?
Kind of. It's like getting a second opinion or even a third or fourth before you make a big money move. Right, because
more information is better, especially when it comes to your finances.
And even if those people have totally different ideas about money than you, just hearing your stories can help you
see things in a new light.
Yeah, maybe challenge some of the assumptions you've been holding on to.
Totally. And this kind of goes hand in hand with another thing Housel talks about.
What's that?
Lifelong learning. The world of money.
Oh, yeah.
It's always changing. So, like, what worked for our parents' generation might not be the best strategy for us now. We can't just coast on, like, the financial wisdom we inherited.
Keep updating that financial software.
Yes. Always be downloading those updates. Now, this is a big one, I think.
Get me?
Focus on what you can control. Because there's so much we can't control, right?
The market, the economy, like...
interest rates, inflation, like all that.
Yeah, it feels like a lot.
It is. But we can control our savings rate.
Okay.
We can control our spending habits, our investments. That's where our power lies.
Serenity prayer for your money, right?
Exact side.
Accept what you can't change. Have the courage to change what you can. And the wisdom to know the difference.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And focusing on those things you can control, it brings peace of mind.
Oh, for sure.
Especially when everything else feels totally chaotic.
Speaking of feeling in control, Housel talks about the importance of... a
long-term perspective.
Yes. It's so easy to get caught up in, like
day-to-day.
The headlines, the stock ticker.
Yeah, yeah.
But for building real wealth, it's about staying focused on the long game.
Where do you want to be in 5 years? 10 years? 20 years?
Not checking your portfolio every 5 minutes.
Right. Don't let those daily ups and downs distract you from your ultimate goals.
Like planting a tree.
Yeah.
You don't dig it up every day to see if it's growing.
You just got to trust the process. Give it water, sunlight.
Patience.
That's the key. Speaking of trees...
Ooh, another analogy.
You know me. Housel uses a great one to describe the relationship between risk and reward. He compares it to a forest fire. Like, one little spark might not do much,
right?
But if it lands on some dry brush...
oh, no.
Boom, the whole forest can go up in flames.
So even a small risk, if we ignore it,
can have huge consequences.
And that's why understanding risk is so important.
Especially with investing. Got to be aware of the potential downsides.
Even when things are going great.
Exactly. Don't get complacent. Okay, last one from Housel that I really loved.
Lay it on me.
He says, wealth isn't just about how much money you have, but how much you don't need.
Oh, I like that.
It's about building a life that's rich in experiences, in relationships.
Yeah, those non-monetary riches.
Exactly. It's about your time, your freedom, your ability to live a life that aligns with your values.
Like decluttering your life. You get rid of the stuff you don't need to make space for what truly matters.
Beautifully said. So, are you ready to move on to part 3?
Let's do it. More wisdom from Housel awaits. Okay, deep divers, we're back for the final stretch of our journey through the psychology of money.
Chapter 1, the foundation.
We've covered a lot of ground, like, the power of our experiences.
Biases?
Yeah, how those things shape our money choices. Now let's get practical. How can we actually use all this wisdom?
To improve our financial lives.
Exactly.
Housel gives us so many nuggets in this chapter, but one that really hit home for me was his emphasis on saving.
Saving? Really? That seems kind of...
basic.
Yeah, a little bit.
Right? But in a world of, like...
instant gratification?
Yeah, buy now, pay later.
Spend, spend, spend.
It's easy to forget the power of just consistently putting money aside.
We've all heard it, right?
Yeah.
Pay yourself first.
Yeah, treat savings like a bill.
But Housel, he doesn't just talk about saving for a rainy day.
He takes it a step further.
What does he say?
Save for freedom.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah, saving isn't just about, like, hoarding wealth.
It's about
options, control. It's about knowing that you have a cushion so you can make choices that align with your values.
not choices you're forced into.
Out of desperation. Yeah, exactly.
It's like having an emergency exit in a crowded theater.
Ooh, I like that.
It might not be glamorous, but it's nice to know it's there if you need it.
Exactly. That peace of mind, it can be so powerful. And one way to make saving easier, less painful.
Yeah, because who loves saving?
Right. Automate it.
Yeah.
Set it up so it just happens in the background.
Like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah. And then you don't even have to think about it. Power of inertia.
Ooh, inertia. That's a good one.
Like putting your workout clothes out the night before.
So you're more likely to exercise.
Exactly. Makes it harder to skip that workout. Now, when it comes to investing,
The big I word.
Housel is all about simplicity. Low-cost index funds, baby.
Index funds. Remind me what those are again?
They basically track the overall performance of the market.
Okay.
Instead of trying to pick individual stocks, which is...
risky.
and time-consuming. It's like you're trying to time the waves when you could just...
Ride the tide.
Yeah.
So it's like taking a scenic train ride. You sit back, enjoy the view, and you know you'll get to your destination.
Love that. And remember, investing, it's not about getting rich quick.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's about patience. It's about planting those seeds, nurturing them, and having the patience to watch them grow.
Into a financial forest.
Yes. Now, this is where Housel gets really interesting.
Oh.
He talks about how to deal with setbacks.
Because there will be setbacks.
Oh, yeah, guaranteed.
Yeah.
He says, be optimistic about the future, but pessimistic about the short term.
Okay, so, like, acknowledge there will be bumps in the road.
But trust that you'll eventually reach your destination.
It's like being a surfer. You know there will be wipeouts.
Big waves.
But you also trust you'll catch that perfect wave eventually.
And ride it all the way to shore.
It's a good reminder that even the best investors, they experience losses. It's part of the game.
It's not about avoiding losses altogether.
It's about learning from them.
Coming back stronger. All right, one last gem from Housel that I just had to share.
Okay, I'm ready.
He says, wealth is not about how much money you have. It's about how much you don't need.
Ooh, that's deep.
Right. It's about focusing on building a life that's rich in experiences.
Relationships, fulfillment.
Not just stuff. It's about your time, your freedom, your ability to live a life that aligns with your values.
It's like decluttering your life, but instead of getting rid of things, you're getting rid of needs.
Yes, making space for what truly matters.
So as we wrap up this deep dive into Chapter 1,
any final words of wisdom?
Be kind to yourself. Money decisions are hard. We all make mistakes.
We do.
Don't beat yourself up about it. Learn from it, adjust course, and keep going.
It's like learning to ride a bike. You're going to fall a few times.
But eventually,
you find your balance, and then you enjoy the ride.
Perfectly said. So deep divers, keep exploring.
Keep learning.
And keep making choices that move you closer to the life you want to live.
We'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Until then, happy investing.